Welcome back to another Nano video. Today we're going to be looking at Call of Duty Warzone and its new Season 3 update, which introduced NVIDIA's Deep Learning Super Sampling, or DLSS for short. If you're not familiar, DLSS essentially increases performance in your games by taking a low resolution frame and then upscaling it to be close to the intended image quality, and it does this via a trained AI. Now, in the end, your performance will increase due to your graphics card rendering at a lower resolution, but you get almost the same image quality as full resolution thanks to the AI upscaler. So essentially, it is free performance. Now, for games like Call of Duty Warzone, DLSS is a complete game changer, as it effectively means that you can increase your frame rate and keep your performance as high as possible. And this can be super important for high refresh rate competitive gaming, where having a lack of stuttering, hitching, or low frame rates mid-fight can really be the difference between you winning the game or losing it. Thus, it just really makes sense for really any competitive game to have DLSS, and with competitive battle royale titles like Fortnite also having DLSS, it's been long overdue for Warzone to get the feature. So let's not waste any more time, let's get right into the benchmarks. First up is 1080p, where performance on average increased by around 16% when using the quality setting. The only card to really get over 200 frames per second was the RTX 3090, with the RTX 2060 being the lowest frame rate with 120 frames per second. For 1080p, I found the quality setting to be really the setting to use, as ultra performance or performance mode or even balanced looked quite blurry in comparison to quality. Quality also looked pretty much the same as regular 1080p without DLSS, so it's basically free performance at that point. You might as well just turn it on and enjoy higher frame rates. In addition, the lower end cards like the RTX 2060 or the RTX 3060 saw greater gains than, say, the RTX 3090, which maintained about half of the average performance increase of the other cards. So for 1080p 240Hz or 144Hz gaming, I'd recommend you stick with the quality mode to be closer to that maximum refresh rate. Maybe balanced quality is also appropriate for your needs if you want to get close to that 240Hz mark. But I find that if you want the image quality to be as sharp as possible, try the quality mode. But you can also just try out both settings and see if you still find the image sharp with balance mode. Next up is 1440p performance, where we saw an average increase in performance of around 24% when again using the quality setting. For 144Hz gaming, the RTX 3060 Ti and any card above it scored better than 135 FPS in the game, with the RTX 2080 Ti being the only 20 series card to hit 147 FPS. All the other cards like the RTX 2060, 2070, and the RTX 3060 scored closer to the 100 FPS mark. Now, the trend that we're going to see here again is that the lower end cards benefit more from DLSS than the higher end cards do. In the case of 1440p, I'd probably stick with balanced being the preferred DLSS mode for 144Hz gaming. However, we did test with the quality setting here, as that's probably what most people will use, and we find that that's where the image is, of course, the sharpest. Lastly is 4K performance, where we saw an average performance increase of 57% when using the DLSS performance setting. At 4K, the image is still decently sharp when using the DLSS performance mode. It's also where you'll see the most benefit, and it's also made the game actually playable at 4K max settings at a high refresh rate. Now, two cards were dropped at 4K, these being the RTX 2060 and 2070, and that's basically because they're not able to run the game at really any effective frame rate that would be playable, especially the RTX 2060, where there was stuttering. So these cards really aren't made for 4K high refresh rate gaming, but we still included lower end cards like the 3060 because they're really new to the market, and I think people should know what they're all about. Now, in terms of FPS, the lower sort of scoring card was the RTX 3060, of course, which hit around about 82 FPS with DLSS, with the 2080 Ti and the 3070 hitting around 120 FPS, and the 3080 and 3090 hitting closer to that 144 FPS mark. In summary, I think that any resolution above 1080p, you're going to see an increase in performance when using DLSS, and it is worth turning it on. Now for resolutions that are lower, like 1080p or 1440p, stick to quality mode and enjoy around a 15 to 25% performance increase. If you're looking to do 4K 120 or 4K 144Hz, try out performance mode. If it's too blurry, then I recommend sticking with DLSS balance mode. However, your frame rate will definitely take a hit and you'll be closer to that 90 FPS mark. Even with a 3090, you also might not be able to do 4K 120. So just try out all the modes, especially for 4K, and find the one that really suits your sort of image quality that you're looking for. In the end, I think this is a good feature that has been implemented to Warzone. Streamers and really anyone who's playing with a high refresh rate monitor should use DLSS, or at least try it out and invest some time into exploring whether it's worthwhile for you. Now, I think the general conclusion here is that if you have an RTX card, you may as well turn it on, at least some sort of DLSS setting, and trying out really which setting works for you at what resolution, because you're going to be getting performance for absolutely minimal image quality reduction, and that's incredibly important for a competitive FPS like Warzone. I felt as well, just from my own personal experience, that the game was far smoother, especially when I was playing at 4K with my 4K 120Hz monitor. So really, I can't really recommend it any more than I have. Just turn it on, enjoy the free performance, and yeah, I hope you guys win some games. So anyway, that's all for today. If you guys liked the video, give us a like, share it with your friends, and show them what kind of performance they're missing out on. And lastly, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Until then, I'll catch you guys in the next video.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.